On the April 4, 2025, episode of Friday Night SmackDown, fans witnessed an explosive and unforgettable face-to-face promo between Charlotte Flair and the reigning women's champion, Tiffany Stratton. This highly anticipated segment was meant to build excitement and tension ahead of their blockbuster collision scheduled for WrestleMania 41. However, what unfolded on live television was far from what anyone had expected or planned. The encounter quickly spiraled out of control, deviating significantly from the scripted rundown, and left everyone, viewers, commentators, and WWE management, stunned by its chaotic unraveling. It's a moment that has since been dissected, discussed, and debated across wrestling circles, with reports emerging about the fallout and the backstage reaction to this unprecedented exchange. The promo began with the usual intensity one might expect from two of WWE's top female talents. Charlotte Flair, a multi-time champion and one of the most decorated stars in the company's history, stood across the ring from Tiffany Stratton, the current title holder who has been making waves since her rapid rise in the women's division. The stakes were high, with WrestleMania 41 looming just weeks away, and the audience was eager to see how these two competitors would set the stage for their championship showdown. Initially, it seemed like the segment would follow the typical formula: sharp words, bold declarations, and a bit of posturing to hype the match. But as the microphones were passed and the verbal sparring began, it became abundantly clear that this was no ordinary promo. Almost immediately, the exchange took a sharp turn into uncharted territory. Rather than sticking to the rehearsed lines and carefully crafted narrative laid out by WWE's creative team, both Flair and Stratton veered off script, letting their emotions take the wheel. What was supposed to be a controlled, professional build to their WrestleMania encounter devolved into a raw, unfiltered confrontation that blurred the lines between storyline and reality. Comments were hurled back and forth, and before long, the promo crossed into deeply personal territory, a rare and risky move in the world of professional wrestling, where the boundary between kayfabe and real life is typically guarded with care. One of the most shocking moments came when Charlotte Flair's recent divorce from fellow WWE star Andrade was brought into the fray. The dissolution of their marriage had been a topic of speculation among fans and media alike, but it had remained largely off-limits in WWE programming until this night. Whether it was Stratton who first broached the subject or Flair who retaliated with a personal jab of her own, the specifics remain murky. What's undeniable, however, is that the mention of Flair's personal life ignited a firestorm. The two women began interrupting each other relentlessly, their voices overlapping in a chaotic crescendo that made it difficult for the audience to keep up. Flair, known for her razor-sharp wit and commanding presence, seized on moments where Stratton stumbled over her words, mocking her opponent's delivery and goading her into an even more frantic response. Stratton, for her part, seemed determined to get under Flair's skin at any cost, firing back with whatever she could muster to elicit a reaction. The result was a segment that felt less like a scripted wrestling promo and more like a heated argument caught on live television. Fans in the arena and watching at home were left buzzing, unsure of how much of what they'd just seen was planned and how much was a genuine breakdown of decorum. Social media erupted in the aftermath, with clips of the exchange spreading like wildfire and sparking endless speculation. Some praised the authenticity of the moment, arguing that it added a layer of realism to the WrestleMania build-up that couldn't be manufactured. Others criticized it as unprofessional, a messy detour that detracted from the larger story WWE was trying to tell. Regardless of where one stood, there was no denying that the April 4 promo had become the talk of the wrestling world. Behind the scenes, however, the reaction was far less celebratory. According to reports from outlets like Fightful Select, WWE management was far from pleased with how the segment played out. Sources indicate that very little of what aired aligned with the original rundown prepared for the night, a rundown that had presumably been designed to advance the WrestleMania storyline in a specific, controlled direction. Instead, the promo's descent into chaos left producers scrambling and higher-ups fuming. Interestingly, the blame wasn't placed squarely on one individual. Rather than singling out Flair or Stratton as the instigator, WWE officials reportedly held both women accountable for letting the segment spiral out of control. It was a collective failure, in their eyes, to maintain the professionalism and discipline expected of top-tier talent. The fallout didn't end there. In an effort to mitigate the damage, WWE took swift action with the online versions of the segment. Clips posted to the company's official YouTube channel and social media platforms were heavily edited, with the most contentious exchanges either trimmed or removed entirely. This move signaled a clear intent to downplay the incident and shift focus away from the personal barbs that had dominated the live broadcast. It's a decision that's hard to fault from a business perspective. WWE, after all, thrives on its ability to control the narrative and protect its brand. allowing the unfiltered version of the promo to linger in the public eye risked overshadowing the WrestleMania build-up with controversy rather than excitement. Journalist John Alba, a respected voice in wrestling media, took to Twitter to share additional insight into the situation. According to Alba, the atmosphere backstage following the promo was tense, with the incident described as contentious among those in the know. Yet, he noted that WWE higher-ups appeared to adopt a wait-and-see approach, observing how the situation would unfold rather than immediately intervening with disciplinary measures. This hands-off stance suggests a recognition that, while the promo had gone off the rails, it had also generated significant buzz, something the company might hope to channel into interest for the WrestleMania match. As of now, it remains unclear whether Flair and Stratton will face any formal punishment for their actions. Speculation abounds about potential fines, suspensions, or even a creative overhaul of their storyline, but no official word has emerged from WWE headquarters. What's certain is that the incident has left a mark, both on the road to WrestleMania and on the dynamic between these two competitors. Their next appearance on the following Friday's SmackDown will be closely watched, with fans and analysts alike eager to see whether they'll share the ring again so soon after their explosive confrontation. It's possible WWE will keep them apart for the time being, allowing the dust to settle before their inevitable clash at the Showcase of the Immortals. Alternatively, the company could lean into the tension, using it as fuel to heighten anticipation for the title match. Regardless of how WWE chooses to proceed, one thing is non-negotiable. When WrestleMania 41 arrives in 2 weeks, Charlotte Flair and Tiffany Stratton will step into the ring together. Personal feelings, backstage reprimands, and unscripted promos aside, the show must go on. WrestleMania is the pinnacle of the wrestling calendar, a spectacle that demands the best from its performers, and both women are seasoned enough to understand that. Flair, with her storied career and knack for delivering under pressure, will either reclaim the Women's Championship and add another chapter to her legacy or fall short against a determined Stratton. Stratton, meanwhile, has the chance to solidify her reign by defeating one of the all-time greats or risk losing her title and the momentum she's built. Whatever the outcome, the match itself will be the ultimate reset button, a chance to move past the April 4th debacle and refocus on what matters most, the in-ring product. This isn't the first time Charlotte Flair has found herself at the center of controversy. Her fiery personality and willingness to push boundaries have occasionally landed her in hot water, both in and out of the ring. Yet, she's always managed to weather the storm, emerging stronger and more determined each time. For Stratton, this may be a newer experience, but her resilience as champion suggests she's capable of rising to the occasion. Once WrestleMania is in the rearview mirror, the two may not have to cross paths again for a while unless, of course, WWE opts for a rematch at the next pay-per-view, be it Backlash or whatever event follows. In the unpredictable world of professional wrestling, anything is possible. For now, the focus must remain on the bigger picture. The April 4th promo, chaotic as it was, is just one bump on the road to WrestleMania 41. It's a reminder that even in a scripted industry, human emotion can break through, for better or worse. Flair and Stratton let their personal grievances spill into the spotlight, and while it may have ruffled feathers backstage, it also underscored the passion they bring to their craft. WWE will move forward, as it always does, and the fans will follow. In 2 weeks' time, the bell will ring, the crowd will roar, and the championship will be decided. Everything else, the arguments, the edits, the rumors, will fade into the background, leaving only the match itself to tell the final story.